Now, there were two things that we were told that was impolite to ask someone at a young age. And that was, how old are you and how much money do you make/have? So I think it's only fitting in today's video if we ask, how much money should you have at each age? And this is great because now we can see how much less money we have compared to other people at our age group. But here in this channel, I'm documenting what we learn about money, how we should invest it, and also make it more acceptable for friends and family to talk about. Hey, my name's Hayden Campbell, and I'm here to educate millions of people just like you on personal finance. In this video, we're going to be talking about the median net worth of people in different age brackets and why that is. And as always, this video is not financial advice at all, but without further ado, let's get into it. So in order to calculate our net worth, first of all, we need to add up all our total assets. An asset by definition is simply just a valuable item that is owned. This includes things we own, such as cash in the bank from your employer, your investment account for stocks, any home equity you have, retirement accounts that you have money in, any cryptocurrency you may own, and also hard physical assets such as your car and also any jewelry. So after we calculate all our assets up, we can also look at the total liabilities we have and subtract that from the original assets to get your net worth. Now, liabilities are any form of debt you may have, such as mortgage loans, car loans, student loans, any credit card debt you may have. But it's basically anything where you owe someone else money. Now, as we're always taught as kids, in life we have to always avoid debt unless it brings us cash flow, such as mortgage loans where you can buy property. Or also like the student loans, because although you don't get any upfront cash flow or any return, later in life, if that's a career you want to pursue, you'll be able to get a lot more money from salaries if you have a degree. And if any form of debt doesn't progress you to having any financial gain for yourself, then it's really not worth having. As I said earlier though, after we calculate our total liabilities, we can take it away from our assets, and that hence gives us our net worth. Now, this number could be positive, negative, and either or is fine, because especially at a younger age this happens, mainly due to student loans or buying a home. So if that number is negative, don't stress. From the recent survey of consumer finance back in 2019, the average net worth of an American household was about $748,800. However, as we know, averages are disproportionately scaled towards the ultra wealthy, so to get a more reliable indicator, the same study looked at the median net worth of households, which sat at $121,700. This large disparity shows how far apart the middle class and rich are, and we can show this on something called a bell curve. So in order to give a visual representation, we're going to draw your bell curve to demonstrate this example, and this starts, we're going to just draw a simple bell curve, which is kind of set up like this, where it's split down the middle, and right here will be the median net worth. And then we split up into these kind of like quadrants, not quadrants, but zones, where this zone is 34%. This other side is also worth 34%. Then we're going to split it down here. This one's worth roughly 15%. Same as this side, it's not quite even, but gets the gist. And then right down here, we're going to do the 1%. 1%. All right, you see that? So as you can see here, this middle section right here is each worth 34%, 34%. So they're roughly a third each. So this cumulative middle part will be 2/3, which is basically the majority of the population. And then this certain 15% here is considered above average for the population. 15% here is below average for the population. And then obviously the 1% on either side are either extremely above average for the population or extremely below average for the population. And we can represent this into net worths. So we're going to start in the middle here, where we look at the median net worth, which is $121,700 for the general population. So right down here in the middle is the median net worth of all people, which is $121,700. So in order to be considered slightly under the median net worth, we're going to go in this zone here, so slightly lower. And in this area, it ranges between $2,592, so $2,592 is the lower end of this range, and on the higher end of this range is going to be $114,194, which is weirdly a massive disparity between these two numbers, as only $2,500 is considered only technically slightly below the median net worth of individual, and we're at the upper end, which is $114,000. Now, we go to the other side of the 34%, so the other third of the population, because this whole bell curve is considered population. So this is going to be slightly above. So this area is slightly above average. And the difference between here is the lower end is going to be $127,446. So that's the lower end there. And as we're going to see, 114,000, 127,000 are very close to this median. Now, the higher end of slightly above average we're going to put here is $737,122. Shocking writing, but that is the upper end of a slightly above average net worth individual. And it seems crazy that this 2/3 of all the people in America range between $2,592 and $737,000. And any people between here, between 2,500 and 737,000, are basically almost average people. And that's crazy. It's massive difference, but we're going to show how larger and lower individuals scale between here. Now, for your net worth to be considered quite below average, so we're going to go this 15%, quite below average, it goes, I'm going to have to write this, negative $54,867, and on the higher end is $1,577. All right, so essentially, the bottom 2% of all the population in America have negative $54,000. And these people are generally those younger people who are getting the student loans, not paying them off, getting high credit card debt, car loans. They got so much debt that they're probably not going to be approved for anymore. Maybe a failed business, who knows? Some people fall under. Now, on the higher end, obviously just under $2,500 is the ones here. To be in essentially the bottom 16% of the population, you have to have less than $1,500 And that makes sense because for people over 18 who have just started getting into the real world, maybe haven't worked a part-time job leading up to being 18 or spending a lot, then they're only obviously going to have a low amount of money. Also, of course, they have student loans generally, but we try to avoid being in this bottom 16%. Now, so that was quite below median, quite below median. Now, in order to go quite above median, so between the 15% past this 34%. So it's slightly average 34% of the population and 15%, so 1/6 of everyone in the US is in this zone here. Now this zone, again, is quite astounding because it ranges between $975,218 and on the even higher end, we go, ready for this, $6,557,022. So, to be quite above the median person in terms of net worth, of course, not any other scale, median's 121,000. To be on the lower end of being quite above is 975,000 and 6.5 million. So imagine being the top 2% of individuals being under over $6.5 million and you're considered, I guess, quite above average or median. Not above average, quite above a median person. Which is crazy because that's a lot of money for obviously anyone. But obviously, again, $975,000 and $6.5 million, are usually people who are past 50, maybe retired, or these people who have successful business on a small scale, not exactly, their company's going public, but on a large scale, they're quite successful in a local area or something like that. Now, the top 1% that you don't want to be in, low household income. So, low household income, LHI, whatever word I'm going to use for it. Not income, sorry, net worth, I should say, net worth. Anyway, the top 1%, in order to reach the top 1% of low net worth individuals, you have to have negative $94,516. Now, these people, I don't even want to say they're bad with the money, because they obviously are, but I feel like they have some unfortunate events that happen, such as maybe medical bills for the US, of course. Medical bills, a business failed tragically, you've been sued for some reason, who knows? But to be in that 1%, negative $94,500. So there you go. We try to avoid that, obviously, on this channel. Now, what everyone wants to be, the big 1%. What does it take to be in the 1%? It might surprise you. I've said this in a previous video before about how surprising the top 1% actually is. It's not as high of a number as you think. It's actually just, a light 11 million, $99,166. So basically a tad over $11 million. Now, $11 million, yes, is incredible. However, you expect the 1% to be some rich tech billionaire, 100 millionaire, tens of millions there, whatever you want to call it. They started a successful business. They're successful entrepreneurs. They're your bankers, your heavy investors that have been on Wall Street for decades. However, $11 million, again, is just a really successful mechanic, a successful small chain fast food or any restaurant. $11 million is not unattainable. And I showed in my other video how anyone can be in this top 1%, $11 million, just by investing at a young age. It takes a lot of saving and investing, especially early on. But by the time you're 50s, 60s, it's very, very possible. And if you don't want to get to $11 million straight away by working, you can retire at $6,975,000. Of course, remember, this top 16%, so $975,000 onwards, that is incredible to be in that echelon or that tier. It's quite high. And to be above $975,000 is absolutely amazing, and it's definitely, you can retire with it. Now, I did some further research, because as you see here, bell curve, large amount of the population is 34 plus 34, 68% is between $2,500 and $737,000. So really around, I guess you call it, around the median $127,000. Sorry, $121,000 right here. We've got the below average, above average, but let's look at, incredibly above average, the top 0.1%, let's say. Now, in order to be top 0.1% net worth individuals, households, then it does take, the people who've taken a risk, the people who have jumped on opportunity, jumped on maybe a wave that happened that was highly successful, a great investment, whatever. And we're right in this top corner, top left, what it takes. $25.1 million. $25.1 million. Shocking handwriting, of course, bit awkward, but $25.1 million is, I don't want to say all it takes, because that's the difference between $11 million, which is possible as a wage earner, your normal, I don't want to say middle class, but your average mum and dad that is earning a wage, investing right, housing, stocks, crypto, whatever it is, $11 million is attainable. $25.1 million, either it takes more time, generally for wage earners, maybe it's 70, 80, 90, or you have to be a much larger income earner to be in that area. Whether you sold a business for a massive profit, you got bought out by another company, whatever. Anyway, let's have a bit more fun. Let's go to 0.01%, all right? The top 0.01%. I've just realized how messy this page is, but as we go, it makes sense. Top 0.01%. Now, these people are big stock pickers, your CEOs, early CEOs, early entrepreneurs who have picked a field that they are interested in, enjoy, have really good knowledge on, and have come off big in it. But again, like the 0.1%, they've taken a massive risk. And to be in that area, you have to be 100 plus million, of course. I wish it was just $100 plus, but 100 million plus. And instead of focusing on this, because if you want to be in the area, you already know what you have to do. You have to work hard. It's extremely difficult. But instead, we're going to follow this on by breaking this down. All this data we've seen by everyone, whether you're between 18 and 100. Instead, we're going to break this down by age, and we're going to put in brackets of 18 to 24, then 25, 29, 30, 34, 35, 39, so in 5-year gaps. Now let's look at that. So I decided to do something different with this video, not as scripted, just following data and write it down, because I feel like it interacts me more with my audience. So now, the age bracket, as I spoke about, of 18 to 24. Now, this is generally when you leave school, you go to college, university, you seek any other form of higher up education, or maybe you've decided to not follow that up and instead go straight to work, which is obviously great. You don't go in debt and you earn income straight away, whether it's through trade, you start your own business, just maybe trying to figure out a skill set that you want to learn and then follow up with. Now, for these people, this is generally when you're part-time work, no matter what you're in, and between this age is those 6 years, most people are always in uni, only a handful, most courses are 3 or 4 years, so only a handful have actually started full-time jobs, or maybe they haven't found a job and continue part-time work, I don't know. But for the most people, this is what happens. The median net worth of people in this age bracket is $8,216. Let's go with data here. And however, $8,216 median. Although you are my viewers, you're interested in personal finance, so we got to aim a bit higher than that. So if we want to reach the top 25% of people in the age bracket of 18 to 24, we have to pass the threshold where the median net worth is now $24,791. So think about it. I know in Australia, if you work a normal general amount, you can easily make $10,000 a year, which is about, let's say, $7,500 US. That's a 6-year gap. And the median of the top 25% is only 24,000. Not only, 24,000 is a lot of money, of course. However, by the time you're 24 and even younger, as long as you save and then invest your money, be smart, still think about future things such as a home or anything else you need to buy, such as a car, whatever it is. Because eventually you're going to have to settle down with a family if you so choose. And also, girlfriends cost a lot. Anyway, 24,000. That's attainable to do in maybe 4 years of working, 100% not spending your income. Or actually, 80% of not spending your income. I'm sure petrol isn't crazy costs. Actually, sorry, petrol is crazy costs right now, but in the whole scheme of things, isn't a crazy cost. You know, of course you need to treat yourself, maybe small holidays, because that's what you do at this age with friends, but seek alternatives where you don't have to spend as much money. Anyway, $25,000 essentially. Fantastic, obviously, great goal. Top 25%, that's a great thing to achieve. Now, you want to build skills and scale your income during this time, because eventually you need to pursue a career, whether you're in uni or you're going to start your own business, doing something like this that I'm doing, videography and editing. It's all skills you need to learn, whatever you choose. Bartending, great. Communication, leadership, all these types of key skills are used in whatever industry you're in. Now, we go to the next area, 25 to 29. That's not a good 9. 25 to 29, this age bracket. Surprisingly, it's a lower median net worth, and that sits at $7,512. So we've actually dropped from 8,000 to 7,500. Now, most likely, I don't have the data. I do have the data, but I don't have the data behind it. But student loans, obviously are at full pelt by then, and you're trying to pay it off slowly. Houses between 25 and 29, pretty common, although it's harder to buy houses and afford them not until you're 30 generally, but 25 and 29 is still a general time to buy. All these loans come in, car loans maybe, depending on the person. Anyway, we've dropped. However, where it separates is the 25%. And the top 25% have a median net worth of $61,568. So, in 5 years' time, we've seen quite a big jump. Because if you think about the stock market, it doubles every 10 years. We've almost tripled in 5 years. So it's not from investing, it's clearly from working. And people who have full-time jobs are able to reach this. Again, save, invest. This number is always possible. Top 25%, 61,000. Very attainable, very, very attainable. So, another thing I want to talk about is an indicator of what to aim for. And generally at the ages of 25, 29, by 29, you want to have 1 year saved and invested of your salary. 1 year's worth of salary saved and invested. So let's say you're a police officer, you're making, I looked it up, about 55K a year, median. Again, median is not averages. So if you're a police officer, for instance, and you make 55K a year, by the age of 29, 30, you want to have 1 year of salary saved and invested. So $55,000 in your investment accounts. Now, what do you invest in, you ask? This is where I'm going to get to the small stage of your retirement accounts. Here in Australia, it's called super, or the full thing, superannuation. Us Australians, we love the short and everything. In America, it's Roth IRAs, HSAs. I don't know the whole details behind it, but it's all really similar. Your retirement account, invests in things that gradually go up. Again, dollar cost averaging. It's the same as any broad market ETF you're going to get. Now, again, $61,568. That seems to be not quite. I don't want to say average, because I know average around $50,000, but for the top 25%, median $61,000. That is what I would imagine the top 25% have, because they obviously have higher incomes. Maybe not necessarily because they're smarter, but because they generally work harder. Top 25% work harder than the rest. Now, by the age bracket of 35 and 39, you're entering the peak of your career. The median income of a 35 to 39-year-old, according to these surveys, is $55,519. Now, this is where quite an issue. Let's say we're at the back end, 29. The top 25% are at $61,500. However, the median, so exactly right in the middle, 50%, at the age of 39, let's say, we're just going to put it at the higher end. So 61,000 top 25%, 39, median's 55,000. So these people who are stuck here are 10 years behind the people who are just the 25% at 29. And the only difference is they're saving, investing their income, spending a little bit less. Obviously 25%, they're not throwing their money away, but they're not as reserved. Maybe the top 1%, they're either high earners or they're saving and investing a lot on also high income. Anyway, let's look at the 25% here. 25% between 35 and 39 have accumulated $228,275. $228,275. Now, by the age of 39, 40, you want to have saved and invested 3 times your annual income. So, as I said earlier, 29, top 25%, let's say they make $61,000 a year. Times that by 3, it's $180,000. But, however, in this 10-year gap, these people in the top 25% who are at $61,000 would likely make $70,000 by this time. Maybe $75,000. For the numbers, we'll say $75,000. $75,000 times 3, so that annual income times 3, is $225,000, which is essentially what we have there. Saved and invested, these people are ahead of the curve, and that's what you try to aim for. Now, the most money you make in your career is between the ages of 40 and 55. This is because you hit the ceiling of you hit the ceiling of promotions, and you can't go any higher generally, or else, if not, you would have already been there earlier, whether it's CEO, higher up boss, high up manager, whatever it is. Now, with the people who maybe can't scale their income as much as these people are going to between 40 and 55. Let's say you're 30 years old, 25, 30 years old, that gap we talked about earlier, that bracket, and you can't scale your income up anymore. You're in the top 25%, making 61 grand a year, but that's your ceiling. 10 years later, we times it with 3, it's only going to be 180 grand, so you're 50 grand behind the 25% curve. And it's not because you're not saving and investing, it's actually because you're not making enough income. And at the end of the day, income is what generates wealth over time. Income at 18 is a lot more wealth when you're 60. And I'll explain this. The median net worth of ages between 50 and 54. So I'm skipping a couple of years here, but I'm going to give the data on the sites I've used that were surveys from 2019. Now, the median net worth of a 50 to 54-year-old. Now remember, these people are coming close to retiring. Either they want to retire early, 55 years old, or on average, let's say 65 years old, you're going to retire. So 10 years away from retiring. The median net worth of a 50 to 54-year-old is $171,320. Now, I've taught you guys some lessons in the past. $171,000 is not enough to, if you would invest it all and retire with it, is not enough. Because as we spoke about earlier, the 4% rule, sorry, not earlier, in a previous video, 4% rule. If you have $1 million, 4% is 40 grand. 40 grand a year income that you can spend however you want, you can live off 40 grand a year. Now, $171,000, however, is about $7,000 a year, $7,000 a year. Now, you tell me, would these people here, 50 to 54, live off $6,000 to $7,000 a year? They want to retire and go on holidays. Those holidays cost well more than $6,000 to $7,000 just in a holiday, not even a year. So expenses are not covered. Now the 25%, people who are higher up, 25% again, what's their median? $493,928. Now just to remind you, $171,000 median income, 50 to 54 age bracket. If you want to retire, they're going to be stuck retiring when they're 70, 75, because they won't be able to. They won't have enough income coming in. And when these people in this median of $171,000 do retire, they're going to be living off government checks and all that, because they're not going to be able to sustain their life. Anyway, top 25%, $493,000. Not amazing, because again, if you want to retire early at 55, is essentially $500,000 enough to retire? $20,000 a year? It's not comfortable, is it? So for the people who want to be financially free at the ages of 50 to 54, retire early, because you want to retire as early as possible. However, retiring early, you're going to need at least double that to retire really comfortably and enjoy your retirement and the rest of your life, because that's what you want. Because you want to have the choice between working when you want to and not having to work at all. You don't have to worry about waking up at 8 o'clock to get to a 9 o'clock job, 9 to 5, come home, look after kids. Obviously, you're a bit older, you hopefully don't have to look after your kids, hypothetically, if you have kids. But you can wake up whenever you want. And it's just that simple thing of being financially free, not $493,000, $1 million plus, 40 grand a year for doing nothing in investments. But again, if you want to aim as a 25%, 493 grand, when you're 65, will at least double, $1 million a year, then you'll be able to retire. So, what do we learn from that? When you're 50 to 54, you need to be more than double the top 25%. When do you fix that number? Because it's not when you're 50 to 54, it's when you're 18 to 24. It's when you're 25 to 29. Your 20s are when you build on your retirement. Now, I really enjoyed making this video because it's more inclusive, more audience. I get to demonstrate some numbers and statistics in a different way, in a more cohesive way between me and you. I still feel like I'm holding the board. Anyway, I want to leave a link below to how I gathered data, where I got the statistics, so you can look at it yourself and study what it takes to be in a high percentile net worth individual, whether that's million plus, like I said, top 1%, $11 million plus, whatever you want to do. You look at it, compare yourself right now and where you want to be. Because right now, you might be in that bottom 16% that I talked about earlier on the bell curve. However, that doesn't stop you from eventually becoming the other side of the bell curve, the higher end of the bell curve. But ultimately, investing consistently into a broad market ETF is the best way to become rich, because between the ages of 40 and 55, as I spoke earlier, is kind of the target of when compound interest takes full effect, and that's what we're aiming for. Since on average, any investments between 18 and 24 have likely 8x by the time you're 55, and this is because by investing into a broad market ETF, every 10 years, the market tends to double on average, and over 30 years, you go from double to double again to 4, double again 8, and that's how you work out the math. But with that said, guys, thanks for tuning into the video, and I hope you enjoyed looking at some of the data that can help you establish your net worth goals to have. And of course, don't always focus on money, although it's a financial aid channel and we're all interested in this area. Looking after yourself, making sure you're happy is the most essential thing in life. You can click on my previous video where I looked at the current concerns I have in the market, and also don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'm trying to get my message out to as many people as possible, and you supporting the channel will help contribute to the mission. Follow my socials, but anyway guys, heading out.